Hello everyone. So, for this week's What I Dreamt, I have a little bit of a spooky dream. Before I get into the dream, I want to let you guys know this is going to be the last What I Dreamt. My dreams have been feeling very much personal and very much meant for just me. So, I will not be sharing those dreams that I've been having just because sometimes things are meant for me, right? I will be replacing the What I Dreamt series with a new one in January, but for the rest of this year, I will be sharing some of my favorite videos from the past. It'll be like a little throwback Thursday. I will still be continuing with the weekend energy readings. I like doing those. I think they're fun. But yeah, this is the final What I Dreamt for now, anyway. I'll probably bring the series back once I'm over this purge, I guess is what is happening. There's been a lot of change below the surface for me. And it's obviously coming up in my dreams, and my subconscious is letting me know there's a lot of stuff left to work on before I move to the next stage. I'm cleaning house right now. I'm mentally, emotionally cleaning house. And that's a good thing. It's good to make sure that you're in a good place before you grow, expand, whatever you want to say. There's a level up, and do I actually know what it is? No, I have no idea. But there's something coming. I think there's a lot of that energy in the air for not just me. But yeah. So my dreams have been dreaming lately. But this dream in particular that I'm going to share today was kind of a spooky one, which is why I saved it for today's video, the day before Halloween. It feels like perfect time for it. This dream in particular felt like one of those dreams that was endless. Like it just kept going. So it started out with me and a handful of other people running towards this building. It looked kind of like a gym, but also maybe like a church building or like a community center type building. It was, I don't know, but we ran inside and we ran up the steps and went in and we like locked the door, and then we all started freaking out, looking for places to hide. And like no one was really talking. It was like that panicked, just random phrases that you keep repeating, like when you're really, when you're really scared, you just keep saying the same thing over and over and over again. And so it was just, he's coming, he's coming, he's coming. And we were all like running around trying to find places to hide. And at first we went towards the basement, which, girl, whatever. I wasn't lucid dreaming, because if I had been, I don't think I would have been like, why are we going to the basement if we're scared right now? Like, scary stuff is gonna get worse, is amplified by basements, right? Like, everybody knows that. Attics, basements, they amplify scary things. I don't know what the thought process was, but we went towards the basement, and we kept going down these stairs, and it was just like another staircase. We get to landing, there's more stairs, which didn't make any sense because, like I said, this was like a gym slash church. There's usually not much of a, like, if there's a basement, it's right below. It's not like multiple, I don't know how far down we went, but we finally get to the bottom, and it's just open space, nowhere to hide. And so we wasted all of that time running down to the basement and not having anywhere to hide. And while we were down there, we heard the front door that we had locked open. So I don't know if the guy was like a giant or whatever and he just broke the door down. I don't know. But we could hear the door opening. And we all looked at each other. And of course, we just started panicking. We were like, he's coming. He's coming. He's coming. He's coming. And we did our best to hide. And there wasn't, like, it was a basement. There was like a big water heater. So someone was behind that. A bunch of us were like hiding behind the stairs. Somebody tried to like climb into like a corner, you know, like up in the ceiling, and like tried to brace themselves up there and where it was dark. I don't know. This was a dream. But we heard the guy walking around, and he saw that the door to the basement was open, and so he kind of like laughs, and then he comes down the stairs and he starts walking down the stairs, and of course it's all these stairs, and so we're all just sitting there holding our breath, knowing that he's gonna find us immediately. Like, there's nowhere we could have gone. And so there was like all this tension of the inevitability of this man that we were all running from finding us immediately, because like the stairs only go one way. There's literally nowhere else that, like, he's coming directly towards us. Like, he's going to find us. And so there's all this tension of just hearing his footsteps, and he didn't run down the stairs. He was just walking. And it was just like this boom, 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 boom. And then he would get the landing and he would turn. And then boom, boom, boom. And so eventually he gets down to the big open, the end of the staircase, the basement that we're all hiding in. And he laughs again. And he says, I already told you. I'm going to kill you all, one by one. I was hiding under the stairs with the bulk of the group of people, and we were all quiet frenzy is the only word that I could think of. Like, we were freaking out, but we also didn't want to immediately alert him to where we were. But like, just freaking out, but trying to freak out quietly in this little tiny staircase that we were hiding underneath. And he walks straight for the water heater, and of course immediately finds that person back there, and he kills him. And then he's like, well, that's one. Where are the rest of you? And he turns around and he kind of like looks at the whole room, and he immediately walks over to the staircase, and he like, it was almost cartoonish the way that he did it. He like put his hand on the side, and then the other hand that was holding the knife, and so we could see. And he was like, oh, there you are. And the whole time he's like talking calmly, super freaky, because he's not like He's not like being over the top about it. He's just chill because he's like, there's not going anywhere. He already knows we're not going anywhere. And so he says, oh, there you are. And immediately we all start screaming. We're like grabbing at each other, freaking out. And he says, are you gonna come out or do I have to drag you out? And nobody's moving because we're basically paralyzed by the fear. And so he grabs one of the other people by the back of their shirt and like basically pulls them out. And of course someone else, I don't know who any of these people were. Apparently they were friends of mine, but I don't know them in real life. I have no idea who they were. But so one of the other people grabbed onto that person and was like, no, no. Horror movie, right? Full on horror movie. And so they're crying. The person that's being dragged out is freaking out and saying help. It's like, what are we really gonna do, babe? He's got a knife. We don't have weapons, and also he's clearly a professional. So we all start freaking out. And of course, because he dragged that one person out, we all sort of ended up getting dragged out anyway. There's still that person up in the corner hiding. And I'm not sure how much longer they could possibly stay up there because they're literally holding themselves up into a corner like Spider-Man. You know, like, anyway. So we're all standing in the middle of the room. We're all crying. We're all yelling. And we're all like grabbing onto each other. And we're like begging this man not to kill us. And he says again, I already told you, I'm going to kill you one by one. And so he grabs the first person that he initially grabbed, he pulls them by the back of their shirt, he stands behind them, and he turns them to make sure that he's facing all of us. And he just... And of course, he really does follow through on this. Like, he kills everyone, one by one by one. And the only person left is me and the person in the corner. And I'm doing my best not to look at the person in the corner because I'm hoping that at least they will survive. But, you know, there's a bee. There's a bee hanging out. It's because the vibes are immaculate. So, I'm surrounded by dead bodies, and there's one person in the corner. And the guy with the knife, he like bends down so that we're like eye level, and he takes the knife and he waves it in front of my face, and he says, "You're last. There's still one more person." And again, I'm trying not to look because I don't want to basically snitch. But he stands up and he turns and looks directly at that person. He's like, "You are strong as hell. I'm not even gonna lie. I'm impressed by how long you stayed up there." And he's like, "You can go ahead and come on down, or I can pull you down, you know, it's your choice." And so, this is like the person in the corner, the guy. He basically like drops down, and when he lands on the floor, he's obviously got no strength left because he's been trying to brace himself into this corner for God only knows how long. And he basically just collapses on the floor, and the guy walks over to him and he's like, "I mean it, I'm really impressed. That was a feat of strength." He's like, "I almost want to let you leave, but I made a promise." And then he just starts all along his back because the dude was laid out on the ground. He had no strength left because, you know. And I'm just screaming in the middle of the room. And so finally, after, God only knows how many stabs, he stabbed the dude, like a lot. And then he turns back to me and he says, one by one. And then he just throws the knife. And then right before it hits me, I'm back outside of this building, running towards it with all of those same people again. So we run back into this building. We lock the door, same thing over again. And we're standing in the same, like, it was a gym. It looked like a gym. There was big open space, like a basketball court kind of space. And so we're standing there and we're like, what do we do? He's coming. What are we going to do? And so then we just bolt straight forward, run across the basketball court. And the sun is moving, so I think I have to move. I came outside to try my hair, so I need to be in the sun. Okay. So we run in and we just bolt straight across the gym, and we go through these doors and there's this long hallway. And so we're like, all these rooms, hide. We didn't even have to communicate that. We just ran and we saw all the doors and we were all like, we ran off in different directions. And same thing happens. We're hiding. We're freaking out. And then we hear the door open again. Even though, again, we know we locked it, but for some reason this man is able to open the door. So we hear him come inside, and he stands in the same spot we were and looks around. And he says, and he kind of laughs and he goes, I already told you. I'm going to kill you all, one by one. And of course that just made us all start freaking out. I was hiding with 2 other people. I don't know where everyone else was. They were in different rooms. The room we were in, it was like an office. And there was like a filing cabinet, a desk, like a tiny little table that had a plant on it. I was hiding behind the file cabinet and the 2 other people were under the desk. And we hear him walk across the floor towards the hallway that we're in. Somehow he always knows where we are. And so he walks towards across the gym and we can hear his footsteps. Boom, 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 boom. And then he opens the door to the hallway with all the doors that we were all hiding behind. And we all start praying, I'm sure. Even though I was only in the room with 2 other people and I couldn't see them, I knew we were all praying. Like, please just don't come down this way. Please don't open this door, please. And he opens the first door. And he says, boo. No one was in there. Again, I don't know how he knew where we all were, but he didn't go in the room. He just kind of like opened the door and he just knew no one was in there. And so then he goes to the door on the opposite side of the hall. And he opens that door and he says, boo. No one was in there. He goes to the next door. And then another door. And the next door that he opens, there's someone in there. And this time he opens the door and he says, oh, hello there. And again, I don't know who was in that room, but there were a couple people in there. And they were like, and there's a lady and a little baby. He's like super tiny, full, like toddler, just the tiniest dude. Anyway, so he goes, oh, hello there. And you can hear the people in the room screaming. They just start freaking out. I'm assuming there wasn't really anywhere to hide very well in that room. and they were just hoping that he wouldn't open the door. I don't know. But we hear them screaming, and we hear him say, "I already told you." And we just hear knife sounds. And he goes, "One by one." And he just, I guess, stabbed them all. And so now we're extra freaking out, because it's clear to us that he somehow knows when we're in a room and when we're not. So he knows exactly where we are. And so we know it's just a matter of time. He's playing with us. He's clearly playing with us. And so he goes to the next door. No one's in there. In the next door. And then another door. And there's people in there. And there's only a couple people in there. And he says, "Hello again." And they start freaking out. And I think it was a guy and a girl. And the guy tells the girl to get behind him. And I think he had like something that he was going to try to use as a weapon. I couldn't see anything. We could just go based off of the sound that we were hearing. But he says, "Get behind me. Get behind me." And he's like, "When I say run, run." I was like, this dude's really trying to fight. I don't know what room he was in. I don't know what he was trying to use as a weapon, but he thought he had a plan. So we hear the guy start laughing, and it's like this belly laugh. He's like, "Oh, we love a hero. I love a hero story." And then he drops the knife. We can hear him drop the knife, and he goes, "Okay, tough guy, let's do this." And he's genuinely enjoying himself. Like, this guy is insane. He is unhinged. Like, genuinely enjoying himself. And honestly, if this were a movie, I would be rooting for this man, because he's so fun to watch from the outside. Like, looking back on this dream, like, this is a bomb movie. I would watch this movie. This would be my favorite movie. But the fact that I'm in this dream and this is a reality, a form of a reality, because my dream self is in it, it's different. But like, genuinely, this guy is so fun to watch. But anyway, so he goes, "Let's see what you got." And so the guy, whoever he was in the room, whatever weapon he had, you hear him go, yell and run for the guy. And you hear them tussling and they're fighting. The girl is screaming at the top of her lungs. And I don't know what was happening. This was all just based off of the sound. And we just hear this cracking noise. The girl starts screaming even louder. She's screaming the dude's name. Do I remember the name? No, I don't. Because again, these aren't people that I actually know. They're people I saw on the street that my dream was like, here, extras. So we hear her just start screaming even louder. And she's screaming the dude's name. And she's just shambles. She's in shambles. And the guy, he says, I thought that would have at least lasted a little longer. Anyway, and we hear him pick up the knife again. And he just kills the girl. Based on the number of people that we've heard, we know we're the only group left hiding. And so the tension in that room is off the charts. We are immediately just, we're next. Then the guy opens a few more doors. And like, he intentionally opened all of the doors around us and skipped our door. Even though he was going 1-1, he intentionally skipped our door, opened every other door in the hallway, and then came back to the one that we were in, which again tells me he knew exactly where we were the whole time. I don't know how he knows where we are, but he knew. And so he came back to our door, And he stands outside and he just like tippy taps on the window with the knife. And he says, little pig, let me in. And I can hear one of the people that's hiding under the desk start crying. Like, immediately upset because shut up. Again, we already knew that he knew where we were, but there was still the idea that, I don't know, he had a chance. I don't know. So he knocks on the door, and then we can hear him open the door, and he sort of just lets the door swing open and hit the wall on the other side. So there's this loud bang, and then he just stands there for a really long time. He just stands there and he doesn't say anything. He doesn't move. Nobody's moving. You can still hear the girl under the desk crying, which I get it, girl, but shut up. So we're there for like a really long time, and he's not saying anything. We're not saying anything. Nobody's moving. And then he says, I already told you, one by one. He says, do you want to come out? Or are we going to keep playing? The girl under the desk completely starts bawling, just full out crying, but nobody moves. So he's like, okay, I'll come to you. And so he walks in the room, and he takes the knife and he taps it across the desk as he leans over. And I can see him from where I'm hiding behind the file cabinet, which means if I can see him, he can see me. But whatever. Obviously, the theme here is that I'm always last. And so he like taps the knife over the edge of the desk, and then he says, boo. The girls both start screaming, crying, they're grabbing each other, and they're like begging him not to kill them. Of course, he reaches underneath and he grabs them by their hair, or grabs one of the girls by her hair and pulls her up. And the other girl is like grabbing onto her and like trying to get his hand out of her hair. Like she's trying to save her friend, and it's obviously not gonna work. It's not working, but she's fighting with this guy, and he kind of like pushes her away, and he takes her friend and he turns her back to the edge of the desk, and I don't know how to explain it. He basically had her head resting on the desk backwards, like pulled back so that her neck was exposed and her back was leaning up against the edge of the desk. And he looks, and of course her friend is like freaking out and screaming, and she's just like crying, and he just, and the girl completely loses it. Her friend is just completely losing it, freaking out, screaming, and she tries to like run around the desk. And of course he's like, oh, where are we going? What are we doing here? And he grabs her and he sort of like starts spinning her around like they're dancing. Again, this man is fun to watch. If this was a movie, I would be fully invested in it. I would be all in. Like, I would be rooting for this guy. But, so he's twirling her around like they're dancing, and he just cuts her belly open, and then he just lets her drop onto the floor. And then he kind of does like a little around the file cabinet where I'm hiding. And I've slid down the wall. I am hands over my face, just fully frozen. And he goes, "How'd you like that one?" And I was just, oh my God. And so then he walks over in front of me and he does the same thing again. He kind of like bends down so we're eye level and he says, "No, really, what do you think of that one?" I mean, I liked it. I think it was impressive. It was fun, right? And I don't say anything. I'm crying. And he just kind of goes, "All right, I'll catch you in the next one." And then he just done. Immediately, we're back outside of this gymnasium building. And we're running inside. And the energy is different because we're still scared, but it's almost like we're aware of the fact that we've done this a bunch of times. And like, it seems like there was a bit of a jump between the last one and this one, and that we've had like multiple run-ins with this man at this point, because we're still scared and we're still trying to figure out how to avoid this guy and how to survive this, because we think there's still a chance. But there's also this undercurrent of, we've done this before, we know how it ends, when is it going to stop? But nobody's saying that part. That's the quiet part. We're not saying that. We're all just focused on, where are we gonna hide? What are we doing? He's coming, we gotta hide. Until we run into the building, we lock the door again. And we're standing there, we're looking around. And the gym is slightly different. Like, there's all these like grappling dummies. Do you know what I'm talking about? They're like the torsos and the heads, and they use them for like martial arts training and stuff, and like self-defense training, where it's just the head and the torso on like a big thing. I don't know, but there was a bunch of them. And so again, we're all pretty exhausted because we've done this so many times. Like, I don't know, I skipped over all of that in my dream and we just went straight to this one, but I could feel the energy of having had multiple other loops. We'll call it a loop. So we're like, hide behind the things. We're out of ideas, so we literally just hide behind those things, which is a terrible hiding spot because whatever, like, you can see it's not a hiding spot. But we stand behind the things and we just wait. And again, there's that same fear and tension, but it's also just tired. Like, doing this again. The door opens and he comes in and he stands there and he kind of just goes, like, he's disappointed that we didn't try to get creative. And he's like, "Well, I made a promise. And I'm gonna kill you one by one." And he kind of like you can hear the energy of him rolling up his sleeves mentally and just being like, "Here we go." And he walks towards the first one and he just kicks it out of the way. Person hiding behind it starts freaking out and like, "Please, please, no." But also, again, this whole thing has like this undercurrent of, let's just get this over with. I can't believe we're doing this again. But like still also holding on to that same frenetic energy of a horror movie. It's this weird dichotomy of energies that's happening, where it's one thing, where it is the horror scenario and there is the fear and the expected reaction. But then it's also on the other side, underneath all of that, there's this bored, tired, very much over it energy. And so there's both reactions are there, and it's weird to watch. It's almost funny Like, it's almost comical the way that they're like begging for their life, but at the same time you can kind of internally they're rolling their eyes like, here we go. And so he kills everybody. Quick, easy, done. I'm the last one, as always. And he looks at me and he goes, are you tired of this yet? And I don't think in any of the other loops I'd spoken to him, but the exhaustion of the cycle had basically killed a lot of the fear and the adrenaline that froze me. And so I was like, yeah, honestly, it's a little boring. Like, we're kind of running out of places to hide in here, you know? Like, I'm over it. And he's like, well, thank God. I thought we'd never get here. And I'm confused in the dream. And I'm like, what is this? What are we doing? And he goes, anyway, this was fun. Glad you're over it. Maybe we can do this again sometime. And then he killed me. And I woke up. Like, my alarm went off and I woke up. So, that was my spooky dream. And here's the part where I analyze all of that. And I'm not gonna get into nitty-gritty details here. It doesn't feel like a nitty-gritty details kind of dream. I mean, I told it that way because it's the night before Halloween. I wanted to really give you guys something worth watching. But I am being beaten by my subconscious to face the cycles and patterns that I am tired of in my own personal life. And it aligns perfectly with what I was saying about being at a purge point in my journey and trying to clean house. And especially with this lunar cycle, where I felt called to truly break a cycle that I am dead tired of. And I'm sticking to it. I am going to really work on it. But this dream was actually, I think, the first hint at me acknowledging that I needed to break this cycle in my life. And not just one cycle, there's multiple things that I have felt chained to. But that's basically the overarching theme of this long dream. It was a marathon of a dream. Like, I felt like I was asleep forever. When I woke up, I was like, that was like all night. Like, normally my dreams are sort of like, I get short ones and then I wake up and then I have another dream and then, you know. But that was like, it felt like the whole night. Like, I don't think I had any other dreams that night. I'm sure I did, but I don't remember them like this one. This one felt like it was a long dream. But just being stuck in that loop. And especially the last one, where it was like just being so over it and like barely putting in any effort. And I mean, if I'm gonna be at that point, which is where I am with a lot of the patterns in my life, why are we still doing it? What are we doing? Why are we continuing this? Like, my heart's not in it anymore, and obviously no one else's heart is in it anymore. Or why continue? Why can't I just let it go? And maybe you have a pattern in your life that you need to finally see the end of. Maybe you have a man waving a knife in your face saying, "Are you tired of this?" A very charismatic killer, inviting some introspection in your life Like, girl, aren't you tired? And it was just that fourth wall breaking moment of him like me, aren't you tired of this? And then him being like, finally, like, I've been waiting for you to say you've had enough. Like, I'm not having fun anymore. Like, I'm bored. And I feel like maybe the charismatic killer is probably the universe or my higher self being like, trying to teach me these lessons and trying to like guide me along the way and saying like putting me in these situations that aren't good for me to force me to move and to force me to change. And basically being like, girl, aren't you tired? Are you not over this? Then why don't we stop? Like, can we stop? Like, if you say stop, it'll stop. Like, I'm waiting on you. And that's where I am. The universe was waiting on me. My higher self was waiting on me to say that I was done. And I was in the thought process of, when is the universe going to say it's over? When does someone else say it's done? And the whole time I was the one who had the control. I was the one who could say, that's enough and this is over and I don't need to do this again. The whole time. That was for someone else as well. I know it. Somebody else needed to hear that. You are the one who says when it's over. If you're tired of people treating you as less than, if you're tired of being taken advantage of, if you are tired of not being given what you're worth, if you are tired of non-reciprocal relationships, be done with them. It's your choice. I needed someone to tell me that. And like, you feel like the universe is handing you lessons and lessons and lessons and lessons, and you're like, when is it gonna stop? When you say it's over. If you tell the universe to stop and you act like you've learned the lesson, you will stop receiving that lesson. So that's the end of this video. End it with a nasty little call out for myself and for anyone who felt called to watch. As I always say, thank you for sitting with me. I hope that something resonated with you. I hope you at least enjoyed the story. And if anyone is a filmmaker who wants the rights to that, you can have it. You just gotta let me know and give me credit and also some money, because I know it's a good idea. Get Sam Rockwell in it, please. I love him. He would be an amazing charismatic killer. Anyway, I'm gonna end it here, and I'm going to say I hope that you have a wonderful Halloween weekend.